Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. My name is Mitch Case. I am going to be your host today. I am also the co-founder of my wife and I's company, More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their relationships with employees and clients by showing gratitude, appreciation, and empathy one meal at a time. The reason we started this over 6 months ago was the goal to interact, interview, hang out with other leaders building organizations that are truly more than a business, not just about the bottom dollar. So we get to come to you guys every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time with a new leader. And I'm very excited about our guests getting ready to come on this show. But before I do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, True Captive. They believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, go on over to their website at truecaptive.com. You can also reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to get you guys introduced to their team. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our next leader. She is the president at Sorella Group Specialty Contractors, and I'm going to let her do the rest of the talking to make sure she does it justice because I don't know that I can. But with that, I want to welcome Sheila Ohrenberg to the show. Welcome, Sheila.
Hi, Mitch. Thanks for having me.
You
As he
bet.
said, I'm Sheila Ohrenberg, and I am the president of Sorella Group. We have been in business. We're coming up on 18 years. So we're headquartered in Kansas City, and we work throughout the United States doing carpentry work in construction.
Yeah. So I was telling Sheila before we jumped on here, I always really enjoy bringing on construction folks in this show, just because my first 10 years in my career were all based in the construction industry. Maybe not always in the exact same spot as others, but I just love the building and creation of whatever it may be in construction. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into that because it's a unique industry and has its own challenges, and finding people to be a part of a business that is operating differently than maybe most. So we're going to definitely dive into that. But Sheila, typically what we'll do is jump into this impact story. And before we do that, I forgot to let anybody know that if they do tune into this live, go ahead and shoot any questions into the comments that maybe Sheila and I can get to if we have time at the end. Otherwise, you can just shoot into the comments where you're watching, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever that may be, and a city that you're involved in as well. We'd love to give you guys some shout outs and appreciate you tuning in. So with that, Sheila, go ahead and let us know maybe an impact that you or Sorella Group has had a positive impact on a team member, community member, or maybe even a client.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think has most been impactful for us over the years is hiring individuals that have aged out of the foster care system. So I don't know if you're familiar with how that works, but you get to a certain age and without a better way to say it, they get booted out.
Yeah.
And so they are taken out of whatever foster care or group homes, and then they are in the world by themselves. And there's a couple of programs that help those individuals with life skills to get jobs and placement. And we have hired several of them and put them into the carpentry industry. A lot of them don't know where they want to go. And we're okay with that. We're okay with them working and training and working with our individuals, both in the office and in the field. And then they decide what they want to do. And we've had a female carpenter that ended up actually deciding she wanted to go into the medical industry. And is in the process of becoming a nurse. So it was a great and really affected everybody in the entire company. Everybody was sad to see her go, but rooting her on, to do great things with her life.
Wow. That is incredible. I did not know that there were programs out there like that. What is that available for many businesses to do that? Why are you so involved in that space from the foster care side of things? Like, I have so many questions around this.
Yeah. So right there in Kansas City, it is now called Cornerstones of Care. They encompassed what used to be 4 different campuses. And the one that I had volunteered before Cornerstones of Care was Gillis, which is over on Warnell in Kansas City, Missouri. And I started over there randomly because in my previous life, I was a cake decorator and they needed birthday cakes for the kids living in the homes.
You were a
And
birthday cake decorator?
I was. And
Okay.
I had a kindergartner that was trying to get his Kansas some award, and I
Yeah.
needed something for a kindergartner to do. And so I was like, what a better way? You can help me with these cakes. And so we started doing cakes over there, and
Wow.
he's 23 now, so that was a day or two ago.
Sure, sure.
But then so they evolved and they had different programs there, and then now they have what's called Build Tribe,
Yeah.
and they work with these young adults with gardening and construction, and I think now they've added culinary, and
Wow.
so yes, training them so that they can get jobs.
I am enthralled by all of this because I mean, so often we as people, especially in Kansas City, like it's a small big town. Um, we so often want to say that we want to help, but maybe don't know like actionable ways that we can truly do that. And being able to help those individuals that are aging out and being pushed out on their own, and not just giving them a hand out, but a hand up in the sense of come along here. We will teach you the skills that you need to know to do this and give you the confidence to maybe continue being a carpenter or going and being a nurse or whatever other path that is. So I'm incredibly grateful for you for taking that initiative and taking action in that because I think so often it's the one step that we forget to do when we want to help out individuals.
Right.
You mentioned that, this woman has now decided to go after a nursing degree, very noble. But you mentioned your team was like obviously very sad to see her go, but rooting her on.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you see from your team members of this initiative, but even just like the camaraderie of like rooting around this individual that's not even I just can't imagine the type of morale boost that has or camaraderie and just loyalty that the company has. Have you seen any sort of impact through that?
Absolutely. I think that it really brings a team together, and you create more of a family. You have, and she's unfortunately the only female carpenter we've ever had, which is
Yeah.
and that was a little concerning in the beginning. Hey, how are we getting, a female and a young female, incorporated into the field?
Sure.
And she had automatically had 10 dads. So it was,
Wow.
everybody treated her like their sister or their daughter, or,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, everybody was very protective and supportive.
I love to hear that. Well, once she gets that degree, my wife works at St. Luke's as a nurse, so I want to make sure that I can maybe potentially help with her placement if and when that opportunity does come about. So that's really, really amazing. And I could sit here and ask you a bunch of questions on that, but we do have to keep kind of moving along here. So I want to dive into Sorella Group itself, and I'm going to say Sorella Group Specialty Contractors. And you said you
Mhm.
focus on the what's your specialty is
Carpentry and finishes,
carpentry and
mainly
finishes.
finishes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So one, I want you to kind of clarify that for everybody else that
Mhm.
doesn't know what that means. But two, I want you to then dive into what truly makes it more than just a business out there trying to drive revenue and profit. I hope I still have you here.
Sorry, we paused there for a
Oh,
second.
there you go. We
There
are
we go.
experiencing storms in Kansas City right now, so I have a
Okay.
feeling that is what's going on a little bit. But Sheila, what I had asked you was maybe kind of touch base on carpentry and finishes, what that means for someone that maybe is not aware of that, but then
Yep.
also dive into what truly makes your group more than a business, more than just revenue and profit.
Yeah. So on our finishes, we don't manufacture anything. We buy product and install it. And in the construction industry, we're considered mainly Division 10, which is going to be your wall protection, your toilet partitions, your glass walls, signage, fire cabinets, all of those things. They say it's all of the things that a building can stand without, but you can't live without. So, yeah.
That is fair. Okay, so thank you for clarifying that
Yep.
piece of it. Let's dive into Sorella Group now. What
Yeah.
makes it more than a business?
I think that it is more than a business because we're family oriented, and all look out for each other, this probably comes from it.
Let's let that buffer for a little bit here.
We we have lunches at work, and we go to each other's birthday parties, and we're small enough that we're not big business, and we try to hone in on individuals' interests, and with job descriptions, we're not set with hey, we have these 50 things that this individual has to do, and if you can't do those, you can't work here. We have different schedules. We have a couple of moms that want to be home in the summertime with their kids, but want to work part-time from home. And we work around those schedules. And everybody's very accommodating, because everyone knows it may be their turn that they want to do something different. And that's sometimes hard to find, because, in the beginning, you have people that think that we should just worry about business. Like you said, the profit. Let's just worry about the profit. Why are you letting them do that? That's, not everybody can, but that's not how the world works. And that's not how my brain works.
Yeah.
So, and I was a single mom, so I completely understand.
Well, I think even caring for those individuals, whether it's a single mom, a single father, a single parent, whoever that may be, having that flexibility from that side of things just truly goes beyond your job to, I care for you as a human being first. I've experienced the opposite of that at times. And there is no quicker way to drive somebody out of an organization when you start to show that all you care about is the work that they're trying to accomplish. So, I want to kind of dive into maybe just some, like, I hear this, I'm not saying that you guys have this challenge, but just in general, like, laborers in the construction industry is very challenging from my understanding on this side. Sounds like you guys have experienced some of that as well. What are you guys trying to do to kind of, I hate to say like you're trying to attract people to your group from maybe another group or anything along those lines, but what are you doing? What initiatives outside of the foster care program that I think is very noble and amazing to continue to get more people involved or interested in the trades to be able to go and do that kind of work?
Well, so we work in multiple locations. Kansas City is our headquarters. We do have an office in Nashville. We have an office in Denver. And I would say the biggest thing that we have been able to do in the last few years is we have organically become very diverse.
Okay.
And it is, we went for years, thinking, hey, we're trying to be diverse, and, but didn't really know how. And then because we have offices in some different locations, we have multiple different individuals working on projects. In fact, I walked a job last week, and we have a Hispanic superintendent that's bilingual, but then we also have a couple of individuals that are from Iran, and then we have a couple of individuals that are from Brazil. Wow. And so you have bilingual, and you have, some language barriers, but everybody's really working together. And, that's one of the ways in which we have worked through the labor shortage. So.
Yeah, I know of a handful of organizations that are working hard with local high schools to introduce that to them, recognizing that college is not necessarily the only choice out there available. It's a good choice if that's what your degree calls for or your profession calls for, but it's not absolutely necessary anymore. And I have found such amazing organizations and human beings kind of leading the charge in that. So I love the obviously, like, the diversity in that can really attract other individuals, recognizing that this isn't just for this type of person or that type of person. So being more broad and wide is obviously going to allow you to cast a wider net for those individuals.
Well, and I think when they have, when they built the airport, they have community benefits agreements. I think those really help communities with just exactly that, because that's the purpose of them, is to get businesses like mine connected with individuals that we may not connect with another way.
Tell me more about that. I'm not familiar with that.
So when they built the Kansas City airport and most large projects or infrastructure projects, they have what you call a community benefits agreement between the developer or in this case, it would have been the city and the contractor.
Okay.
And they then have organizations within Kansas City where you can hire from certain zip codes or from areas that are underutilized.
Oh,
And so, yes. And then it's like a training program.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they also have where, they will have daycare and they will have transportation. So people that you, like I said, not typical
Yeah.
people that you would hire through an agency or that that I think that's one
Yeah.
of the biggest problems is we get comfortable hire people that we know from people that
Sure.
we know,
Yeah.
people that they know.
Referrals on referrals. Sure.
Right? Yes.
That's an interesting take on that. I'm kind of curious just from your perspective on this side. Like there are a lot of hurdles that maybe a single mother, as you mentioned you were, to other situations where you have kids in school and school drop off is at 9 and pickups at 4. How do I work
Right.
a construction job when I'm supposed to be there at 7 to 3 or 7 to 4, 7 to 5? How are you seeing the construction industry adapt to those situations to encourage maybe somebody that wouldn't think they'd be available for it?
I think that is from what I see, I think it's getting better. We have one of our main leads in the field, and he drops his son off at school 3 days a week.
I love it.
He doesn't get there at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. like everybody else does. They just, learn to work around it. It seems like it's starting to be, but I don't know, on the day to day if it's really everyone, and I don't know behind the scenes.
Sure.
It is people want to be involved with their children. I was one of those moms that missed a lot of things at my kids' school, and that's a terrible place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a few moments along those lines, and that kind of shook me to recognize, why am I showing up to this job? Well,
Yeah,
I appreciate you just kind of giving your perspective on that. I'm glad to kind of hear that there is some of that even flexibility in the field, because oftentimes you just hear, hey, if you're not there, nothing's being built, and that's costing us. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case. So
right.
um, let's transition into the last component of this, where we're just going to talk about you and what continues to motivate you to show up day in and day out. I mean, the natural progression from cake decorator to construction business owner is a natural progression. So, what keeps you showing up, being able to serve the people that you're blessed to serve?
I love what I do on a daily basis. I love construction. I love the constant change. And I'm like a mom. I'm like a mom to all of them.
Mhm.
And every time somebody does something and moves to the next level and learns new things, it's just an amazing feeling. As a parent, I'm sure
Yeah,
when your
yeah,
kids crawl and walk and do, it's very much the same. Everybody wants to grow the company and themselves, and it just, it fills my heart. And
yeah.
then, it gives you the empowerment to work through all the challenges.
Mm. I've not heard anybody explain it of just like the I don't know that pride is the right word, but just watching somebody grow, like level up
Mhm.
into that next spot, and talking it from like a father perspective, and you watch your kid pass the ball and kick it in the goal or something along those lines. You're just like, it's hard to explain that joy, and relating that to the business world. I think that's just really, really amazing, and a great way to make it very cohesive team. Um, you referenced kind of being a mom to
Mhm.
the team. Like some days, it's hard being a mom,
Right.
and there's those days where you have to have the hard conversations. Being that close to your team, having that kind of relationship, what does that open the door for you when it does come to maybe kind of those conversations that aren't the joyful conversations? Not necessarily saying
Right.
having to let somebody go, but um, holding them accountable. Like, how does that
Right.
open you up to real conversations?
I think that over the years, I've been doing it long enough now that I've gotten better at it. I think I was terrible for a long time. Terrible.
Spoken like a true mother. It's
Oh
like
my gosh. Yeah.
I am so bad at this right now.
Let's avoid the conversation. Maybe it'll get better. Um, And so, really, we're just trying to make everyone else better, and better everybody better, so that everything can be better, right?
Sure, sure.
Um, and so, but I think that sometimes not everybody likes that approach. We've had people come and go, and some people are good with it, and some people aren't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not a good. Sometimes the conversations that you have in those hard situations is not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
And so, but sometimes they are. And I've had conversations with several people that have worked here over the years that, Sorella Group wasn't a good fit for them. And
Yeah.
construction wasn't a good fit for them. And it's like, hey, I think maybe we might want to talk about, a different career path for you. I
Yeah.
love you and all, but I think this is
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being able to have that candid conversation and be real with them, and them knowing that you do have their best interest in mind, not just yours,
Yeah.
can allow for those real conversations to say, like, this just isn't your jam. Like, it's not for you,
Yeah.
but let's figure out what is. And I want to help you and support you and cheer for you as you go after that, just like your carpenter turned nurse. I love that story. Um, well, we've kind of reached towards the end of the show here now. And what I do want to do is, just for anybody that has tuned in or will watch this down the road, if anything that they resonated with, or want to hear more about you or learn more about Sorella Group Specialty Contractors, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Oh, probably email or through LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, I will tell anybody, if they can't find you on LinkedIn and you find
Okay.
me for any reason, I'd be happy to get you guys connected with
Okay.
Sheila. Um, with that, my wife and I have always decided that through this show, we want to show our own gratitude and appreciation for you tuning in and helping us, and providing maybe some nuggets to others that get to tune into this. And because of that, we want to make sure that we gift a meal to somebody that you think is deserving of a gift. So I would just ask, maybe of if you have anybody in mind, and maybe a little bit of why, as much as you're willing to share,
Yep.
on why that person would be a good recipient of that gift.
Absolutely. It is definitely Theo Bunch. And Theo, actually, I met him. He was the art teacher for Gillis, which it was at the time a boys' home.
Okay.
And I'm sure that he would be fabulous to come on your show as well.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
because he
Theo.
is a leader, so he started Build Tribe, because
Okay.
he saw these kids aging out of the program and then not having a way to take care of themselves. So
Mm,
he himself did that from the art. He did the art and the garden, and then has built Build Tribe over
wow.
the last, oh gosh, 5 or 6 years. It has just, yeah, is really, he him that meal, and he's going to give it to somebody else that needs it. But
No, you get the meal this time, Theo.
right.
Take a moment. So, well, one, I would love to have Theo on this show, so I hope you'll get us connected, and see if we can't do that. But I'll connect with you after the show here, and we'll make sure to get that scheduled for him when he is ready to receive that. So, with that, Sheila, we have kind of reached the end of the show here. I did have Melvin tuned in. He wanted to say hi to me. I'm going to extend that hi to Sheila as well. So, thanks for tuning in, Melvin. If you have any last words or anything that events or anything along those lines that you want people to know about coming up, now's your chance. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and kind of get us signed off here.
No, I think the only thing is when we, for our 10-year anniversary, Sorella's 10-year anniversary, we did 10 months of giving back with a variety of things. And so
Ooh,
we're coming up on 18 years. And so keep a lookout for some good things that are coming, hopefully
cool.
18 months.
18 months of, I'm not going to say giving, but maybe it is.
Mhm.
That's a challenge to any of these other organizations out there too. What an amazing way to just celebrate that time, and maybe even allow your team members to be involved in it as well, to build up bigger, stronger teams. With that, Sheila, I'll go ahead and get us signed off. And it's just a reminder, every single Thursday, we're tuning in live for new leaders across the nation. Coming in here next week, we will have Jonah with Leadership Management International coming in. He's the president over there. So excited to dive into some leadership topics with him. But until then, I just want to continue to remind everybody out there, whether you run a business or are a part of a business, continue to strengthen your relationships with those clients, those employees, those families and friends, because that is one of the best ways that you can truly build something bigger and better than yourself. So with that, we'll sign off and see you guys next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for coming on, Sheila.